Once legends in the West, you and your crew were betrayed. Now, you are outlaws with bounties placed on your heads by those who've wronged you. This is the story of Greenhill and its fallen heroes. Jody, like many young dwarves of her time, was thrust into the midst of the chaotic and senseless conflict known as the Dwarven Wars. Amidst the horrors and bloodshed, she earned the moniker Red Scorpion for her ruthlessness on the battlefield and her striking red braid. When the war finally came to an end, Jody made a solemn vow never to wield a weapon again and fully dedicated herself to medicine. Determined to leave the path of violence behind, Jody settled in the tranquil town of Greenhill. There she established a humble doctor's office, using her newfound skills to heal both the townsfolk and the scars of her own past. Within the tranquility of Greenhill, Jody found serenity and even developed a quiet infatuation with the mustachioed, law-abiding sheriff. Unfortunately, everything changed when the malevolent Undertaker seized control of the town and seemingly eliminated the sheriff. Fueled by a thirst for justice and a desire to reclaim the serenity she had fought so hard to attain, Jody took up arms once more as the Red Scorpion. Ever since, she has led the resistance in a relentless battle against the Undertaker's oppressive rule, fighting not for glory, but for the restoration of peace and the salvation of her cherished town. Roger was a prominent figure in the underbelly of Greenhill. As the head of the city's black market, he navigated the shadows with finesse, capitalizing on the desperate needs and desires of its inhabitants. Cunning and greedy, Roger possessed an uncanny ability to procure valuable goods and information, making him a go-to contact for those seeking unusual wares. In his dealings, Roger often found himself at odds with Nigel, the former sheriff of Greenhill. Their conflicting interests sparked occasional tensions, but as long as Roger refrained from harming anyone, he managed to evade serious repercussions and thrived in the gray areas of the law. When the Undertaker seized control of the city, Roger initially saw little change in his operations. After all, as long as his business continued to flourish, who cared about the person in charge? However, his luck took a turn when word reached the Undertaker that Roger had been secretly supplying goods to the heroes who dared to oppose him. The Undertaker swiftly placed a generous bounty on Roger's head, seeing him as a threat to his dominance. Now on the run, Roger finds himself aligned with these very heroes he once profited from. In an unexpected turn of events, he has joined forces with them to bring down the Undertaker, hoping to reclaim his fruitful business, and possibly improve his relationship with the former sheriff. Not much is known about the enigmatic and childlike spirit known as Olin. Many consider him to be a product of the hallucinations experienced by desperate travelers who claim to have been rescued by this entity. According to the accounts of these travelers, Olin roams the desert and appears only to aid those who are lost. Adding to his mystique, Olin is said to possess the fabled and long-lost weapon known as the mighty Mezcal staff. This unique characteristic has led to a widespread rumor among believers in Olin's existence that he is a reincarnation of Mezcal. One individual who firmly believes in Olin's existence is the Undertaker. Driven by his thirst for power, the Undertaker has been relentlessly searching for the staff in order to enhance his own might. To this end, he has placed a bounty on Olin's head and actively seeks to capture the elusive spirit. Surprisingly, Olin takes delight in this pursuit, approaching it with his trademark innocence. The chase has become a thrilling game of tag your it for him, providing unexpected enjoyment amidst the danger. When he was still human, Robert was the greatest genius the world had ever known. Above all, he desired to enhance and simplify the lives of as many people as possible on a daily basis. However, in a world where steam was the only available energy source, his boundless ingenuity required physical and financial resources far beyond his means. To conduct his research, he had to seek assistance from generous donors, leading him to encounter the enigmatic Undertaker, whose substantial wealth, albeit of questionable origin, was unmatched. Unfortunately, Robert soon discovered that the patron's resources did not come without a price. Instead of freely utilizing them, as he had hoped, he found himself compelled to create weapons and technologies that would grant the Undertaker an edge over his rivals. It became clear to Robert that he would never be able to fully dedicate himself to his grand humanitarian project while under the control of this malevolent backer. Yet escaping the Undertaker's grasp was no simple feat. In secret, Robert developed the Robert Project, a metallic body unaffected by time and basic needs, capable of hosting his consciousness at the cost of abandoning his fragile physical form. To him, this sacrifice seemed a small price to pay in comparison to what he could bring to the world once freed. After months of tireless work, the project was complete. Before transferring his consciousness into this new vessel, Robert destroyed all his research and as many weapons as he could. He staged his own death and escaped the clutches of his so-called benefactor. Now, as Robert, he is determined to fulfill the first stage of his grand humanitarian plan, liberating the valley from the menace that is the Undertaker. The golems are a type of construct that was created as a workforce for the mines populating Green Hill's surroundings. They are made of various enchanted materials and are animated through powerful magic. Golems are simple by design. They are not capable of complex thought and will simply do the tasks they are assigned to. They are, however, incredibly durable and resistant to damage. They are able to withstand extreme temperatures and harsh conditions, making them well suited for the use in desert regions around Green Hill. Given their nature, golems are easily dazed by great magical power. The Undertaker took that opportunity to take over their incredible workforce and use them as enforcers and guards. George is a clay golem that was created during the Dwarven Wars. After the conflict, however, the magic that bound him slowly began to fade, and as the magic dissipated, he became aware of his own existence. At first, George was confused and disoriented, not knowing how to process the influx of new information. But as he began to understand his surroundings, he realized that he had been left to rot in the desert. It was then that he was found by the Undertaker. Noticing George's naivety and simple mind, he saw an opportunity to exploit him for his own gain and convince the golem to join his ranks as a loyal servant. Despite his limited intelligence, he was a formidable ally to the Undertaker, using his immense strength and durability to carry out the necromancer's dirty work without question. Pepperino was once a simple cactus golem that got lost in the desert. As Pepperino wandered, he stumbled upon a field of chili peppers that had been abandoned by their growers. The golem, needing nutrients to keep himself activated and having no sense of taste or smell, was not affected by the pepper's heat, and began to eat them by the handful. As he ate, the peppers began to seep into his body, imbuing it with their spicy essence. Over time, Pepperino's body began to glow with a bright red heat, and his touch became unbearable to most living creatures. It was at this point that the Undertaker discovered the golem and decided to use those newfound powers to his advantage. The Undertaker quickly took control of Pepperino, using the golem's simple-mindedness to bend him to his will. Like all its kind, Pickhead was originally created as a labor golem. He was considered by many as the ultimate construct because of his incredible strength and resilience that only rivaled his incredible simple-mindedness. However, his simplicity made him highly susceptible to magical influence, and it was that trait that eventually led the Undertaker's hostile takeover of all the golems in the Valley of Green Hill. Indeed, when the Undertaker first arrived in the city, Pickhead was immediately drawn to his powerful magic, and it was this encounter that gave the Undertaker the idea to take control of all the other golems. To this day, Pickhead's mind remains entirely under the Undertaker's control, and he is often used as a tool to enforce the Undertaker's rule in Green Hill. In the vast desert expanse surrounding Green Hill, a notorious gang known as the Marauders roam. This gang operates under a peculiar hierarchy based on an unusual measure of skill: the ability to roll the longest distance without succumbing to dizziness. Strangely enough, it is often the least intelligent members who rise to the top of this hierarchy. Approaching the Marauders requires caution despite their perceived lack of intelligence. Their simplicity and straightforwardness make them remarkably resilient to the Undertaker's attempts to control them with his dark magic. However, through a twist of fate, the Undertaker managed to seize control of the gang by besting their leader in a decisive roll-off ritual. It was discovered, according to the species' scarce scripture, that rolling while curled up on a moving horse was deemed valid by their esteemed elder, granting the Undertaker an unexpected victory. Shiny Steve, the elite Marauder, stands out amongst his gang with his distinctive appearance. Having plated his shell with a lustrous chrome finish, he gleams in the desert sun. Shiny Steve is known for his extreme vanity and narcissistic tendencies. He takes great delight in admiring his own reflection in his polished shell, often preening and posing whenever he gets the chance. Despite his self-absorbed nature, Shiny Steve remains loyal to the Marauder's way of life. He adheres to their code and is always ready to serve whoever is in charge, be it Tom or the Undertaker. Within the ranks of the Marauders there stood a formidable figure known as Tom. Tom has dedicated his life to mastering the art of rolling, honing his skills to near perfection and developing a remarkable resistance to dizziness and head traumas. He had become a true expert in the craft, earning the respect of his gang members. However, Tom's reign as the leader of the Marauders came to an unexpected end when the Undertaker arrived and challenged him in a roll-off. Due to technicalities, the latter was indeed able to outmatch the rolling expert. Now under the Undertaker's order, Tom was given an important role within the underworld of Green Hill. He was tasked with keeping would-be meddlers out of the valley's borders and proudly harbors the nickname that his boss lovingly bestowed upon him, Simple Tom. In his relentless efforts to resurrect his beloved Cerberus, Rex, Brutus, and Cupcake, the Undertaker fell into abyssal darkness and started experiments on all of the strays he could find. Those horrible acts took their toll on the grim individual, and for each stray he desecrated, his soul strained thinner. By the time the Undertaker perfected his necromantic aptitude, hordes of ghostly hounds plagued the desert around Green Hill. The poor souls are now linked to the Undertaker, and their fidelity will remain for as long as he is alive. Diabo shares a similar origin to his fellow hounds, created through the Undertaker's dark necromantic experiments. However, there was a significant difference in his creation that set him apart from the rest. Indeed, overwhelmed by grief and consumed by his own wrath, the Undertaker infused a part of his own seething anger and malevolence into the Hound, imbuing it with a terrifying power and relentless thirst for destruction. This act marked a turning point for the Undertaker, as it gave him the initial spark of inspiration to create even more formidable and sinister beings known as the Darkins. The origin of Darkins is shrouded in mystery. Some say they were created using dark magic, while others speculate that they are the spirits of deceased individuals manipulated by the Undertaker. The exact method of their creation is not widely known, but what is certain is that the Undertaker created them in an image of Olin, as a means to obtain the mighty Mezcal staff. But they were not powerful enough to wield the staff as their kind counterpart is. Failing to do the task they were assigned, the Undertaker only uses these failed experiments to enforce his rule. The Undertaker imbued Alface with his own cunning, making him a formidable opponent in battle. He is known for his intelligence and resourcefulness, using his powerful spells to outsmart his enemies. He is also notable for his bloodthirsty nature, making him a dangerous opponent to face. 3 individuals were given small pieces of the Undertaker's might. Red is one of them. He is the last Darkin to be made by the Undertaker and was imbued with the Necromancer's rage over his failed attempts to create a being able to wield the mighty Mezcal staff. He is known for his powerful spells and ability to manipulate the elements to his advantage. Old Jerry, the first of the Darkins, created by the Undertaker, is considered the mightiest of them all. The Undertaker imbued him with his own wisdom, making him a formidable strategist and tactician. He possesses a significant amount of the Undertaker's magical power and is known for his powerful spells and incredible might. He serves as one of the Undertaker's most trusted lieutenants and is considered the leader of the Darkins. Orcs are a race of brutish warlike creatures that are known for their strength and little intelligence. During the Dwarven Wars, they were often found alongside goblins, whom they used as cannon fodder. After the war, most of them started working in physical labor such as mines, but they longed for conflicts. When the Undertaker offered to hire them as enforcers to maintain his rule, they happily joined him as battle was sure to ensue. Rambo is a warrior who gained fame during the Dwarven Wars for his exceptional fighting skills and bravery. Despite being a member of the brutish and warlike orc race, he possesses a level of intelligence and cunning that sets him apart from his kin. He was known to use guerrilla tactics and take out many opponents by himself, especially on his favorite terrain, the deep forests. Smith, having fought in the war, later became a bodyguard for hire. He may not enjoy violence, but it is the only thing he ever excelled at, and one that he is willing to use for those who can pay the most. As a skilled warrior, Smith is often sought after by those in need of protection. Despite his brutish appearance, Smith is known for his loyalty and discretion, making him a valuable asset to those who can afford his services. Wesson is a powerful orc who was once a green-skinned warrior experimented on during the wars. His mind is permanently stuck in a state of rage, and he is constantly in search of a worthy fight. After the conflicts, he was placed in quarantine for a long time as he was unable to ever regain a calm mind. He was eventually freed by the Undertaker. Wesson is fiercely loyal to the Undertaker as he is the only one who can provide him with endless battles to satisfy his thirst for violence. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in part 2 for more misadventures.